By raising hands, have ever worried about anything before in their life?
No, never.
You never have? Have you ever worried about anything?
Oh, all the time.
She said, oh, all the time. No, we don't want to worry about things all the time. This lesson's going to be nice a little bit. And I want to also ask how many people looked up the title of this week's message. Agathokakological. How many people looked it up? Nobody looked it up. Come on, read your email, people.
I looked at it.
You looked it up? Good for you.
No, I didn't look it up. I wondered.
Oh, okay. Well, here's what it means.
No, he saw the newsletters, what he's saying.
Okay, there you go. Well, that's good. You wondered at least, but we, sometimes I have to look some stuff up. Agathokakological. It's what it says, and it is composed. What the meaning of it is composed of both good and evil. So, would you say? I know this is. I'm going to quit asking questions here in a minute, but would you say that most people think this about either themselves or other people, composed of both good and evil? I'd say most of Christianity, most of humanity probably thinks this, don't they? Well, maybe even some of them even take out the good, believe it or not. I think that'd be stupid, but some people would probably. Think of some people that is just evil. But anyway, this is a falsehood of humanity. Because some things are our body, our self, our spirit, of course, is not composed of both good and evil. But many times in this human part of life, we think and we compare things that are not true. And many times they don't even exist at all, the things that we compare. Let's think about that for a minute. What do we compare in life? Well, first of all, we're going to start out with the easy one in a way. Well, for me, and I think for all of y'all, if you think about it, social media posts. I don't know if you posted anything about a vacation or something, or how your family's doing on social media or not. But do you put up the ugly pictures where the kid's crying and everybody's having a bad time and all this stuff? No, we usually don't, do we? We usually put in there the nice pictures where you're having so much fun. Oh, look at this ritzy place we're staying at. Oh, it's so nice that we're so blessed. And even though we put that up, and that's good that we put it up because we want to emphasize the fun that we had, but it isn't the whole picture, is it? And it's not the whole picture because we didn't put up the whole picture. In fact, that would be obviously impossible.
That was loud.
They're all loud, sweetheart. I want them to work.
Okay, but that's too loud.
Okay, well, I can pull it back a little bit if you want me
I tried
to.
that, but it didn't work.
Anyway, no, I can pull it back. So,
yeah, please. That would be good.
Okay.
It's too loud.
All right, you got it now? Is it okay? Or is it too loud still?
No.
All right, I'll hold it right there then. Usually I rest it on my chin because I don't want it to move, but I'll hold it here as level as I can. But back to social media posts. We put in all sorts of things there. Usually the best thing that's going on in our life. Not always, though. A lot of people say, oh, woe is me, right? I mean, I'm sure that you have those folks, too, that you have in your life. My son's one of them sometimes. So anyway, I don't know. I guess the idea there is to look for some type of, I don't really want to use the word sympathy, but that's what I'm going to use because that's all I can think of right now. But social media posts, when we put them out there, aren't the whole story, are they? And they don't tell everybody the whole things, both either good or evil, if you want to believe in evil. So that's not true. In fact, one thing else I want to say about social media is that a lot of people, especially the people being raised in school now, they have to know all this stuff. But the issue has come up quite often is that they think that is always correct, that that's 100% true. Francie, I was half glad and half not glad when Francie asked the boys the other day who they trust. And one of the answers I think was Google. And Google, a lot of people do trust Google. Think it's like the Word of God or something. It used to be not too long ago, a few years back, that Wikipedia had that notion that everybody thought that they were true. And at first they really were trying to get everything right. But then they started having other people able to add stuff, and it came out that they were proven that a lot of the stuff that they define in there isn't actually the truth of what happened. It's kind of like also our history. You know, if you win the history, if you win a war, if you're the winner of the war, you get to write the history, right? And so if you lose the war, your version of what happened isn't going to be told, is it? Probably not in school, at least. And it depends, since I was raised in both, of course this goes back forever, but since I was raised in both the North and the South, there are different versions of history even there. I mean, some people get away with, I don't mean get away with, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. But from the Northern perspective, in fact, you know, when we were in Hilton Head, I couldn't believe it was still happening. When we were in Hilton Head, trying out for the church there, before we selected this one and you selected us, I was reading the paper, and this person from, I guess, New York, I can't remember, representative, federal, you know, in the Congress, said something about the guy in the representative in South Carolina, about how he was going back to, thought he was from the Civil War era, and he thought all this stuff. It was just like, you guys are holding that. It's just silly to go back to there and accuse somebody of that. Anyway, whatever. There are different versions of the history when you think about it. But this idea, I'm going to get in trouble with this for some people, because some people still can't grasp this, and you might later, so give me a moment, is the idea of evil. I wanted to put this in there because this is true, and it is what we teach in Unity, although a lot of ministers aren't. They kind of bypass around it. There is no such thing as evil. Period. Let that sink in, please. Don't just say, oh, he's wrong. There is no such thing as evil. Period. End. Now that you're all upset, and that you're going to worry about this later, I hope not, but you may. Evil only exists if we give it our power. Now, did not say, listen to what I'm saying. I did not say that there are not evil acts that happen in the world. I did not say that. There are evil acts that happen in the world. Does it mean they're from evil people? People usually refer it to that, but that's not really the case. Because that person is not evil. They did an evil act. Now, I'm not saying that you should go out and forgive everybody that you think did an evil act. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that we need to be clear in our own understanding, especially for our spiritual growth, that there is no such thing as evil. And if we blame if we think about that worrying part, if we're worrying about something, what are we doing? We're giving our power, to something that most of the time when we worry doesn't even exist. But sometimes it does. But most of the time it doesn't even exist. So when you're worrying about something, you're giving your power to something other than what you are. And that's what we're going to touch next. This idea of nobody's perfect. How many people have heard that? Everybody's heard that, right? Everybody's said that. Nobody's perfect when you make a mistake or they make a mistake or you're talking about somebody else. Really?
Oh, I went like this.
You want like that because you're perfect?
No.
Oh, I thought you were going to stand up and say
I've heard that no.
Oh,
You
yeah,
asked the question
yeah.
of your...
Yeah, everybody raised their hand on it. Everybody's heard that. Nobody's perfect. But if you say that and you believe, because our words, even though we may blurt out something that we don't actually even mean, if we keep doing it, we're going to start thinking it's true, right? We keep saying that, keep doing the same action, keep thinking that, it's going to become our truth. And that may not be the truth. And so when we say nobody's perfect, really, you should be able to put these two together. What are we saying? God's not perfect. God created you. God created me. And I don't see any flaw in you. We may look at ourselves and see a flaw in ourselves, but God doesn't see a flaw in you. God created you, and you are perfect. That's a really hard one for a lot of people to take. And it's really hard depending on how you grew up. Because the idea of no evil and me being perfect is really hard to say, well, how can I make mistakes? Well, that's free will. We get to choose a lot of things about what we do in life and how we choose to do things, and it does have an effect. There's a cause and effect to everything. So we have to quit saying that nobody's perfect, because you are perfect. Now, if you want to say nobody's perfect except me, and I'm saying you say it, not me, although I'll say it for myself, nobody's perfect except me. I won't say nobody's perfect. I'll just say I'm perfect. And it's hard to say that sometimes for people. Especially, it depends on where you're at in life and all that stuff. But nobody's perfect. We can get away from that. Because this old saying, I think you'll enjoy me bringing it back up, I hope. We can learn a lot from crayons. Some of them are sharp. Some are pretty. Some have weird names. And all are different colors. But they all have to live in the same box. Sometimes we try to stay with all the colors that we like, don't we? And we never try to venture into the colors that we aren't familiar with. But we don't have to do that. If we live in the same box, sometimes we take ourselves out of the box. And, it's interesting. Now that I brought that up, I thought of something, because we had a school meeting this last week, and they're saying about how, because, we have these, here you have the magnet schools. Well, you have them everywhere, really. But they describe them a little bit different here. And the principal was saying how, and this is just a one-on-one conversation, she said how the magnet schools here teach all the kids how to think out of the box. And she explained that, this round circle is where everybody thinks, and this is the knowledge that we have. And they want them to think out here in a box that's outside of that circle. And I said, well, that's not how we used to know about magnet schools. We used to say that our magnet schools in different areas of the country were to still use that round circle as the knowledge base and to expand on it. And essentially they're all doing the same thing, but if you're thinking about being outside of the circle, it's a different. I think it would make it harder on somebody, and it would give an excuse for somebody to do something really different. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't do something different, but you have to use the knowledge that you have. And that's why we come to church. One of the reasons we come to church is to use the knowledge we have and build on it, isn't it? I mean, not everybody in here, I'm sure, was raised in unity. And so some of the words that sometimes we use in unity mean something different than what you're used to. Like consciousness, the big one, consciousness. Consciousness does not mean what, if you went to Webster and looked at it, it would probably say something like a state of awareness. But that's not what consciousness, we mean by consciousness really in unity. It's a deeper understanding of your spiritual self. Now, Fillmore, Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, was very well described it, but in his book sometimes he would not capitalize where he needs to capitalize. So I would always capitalize the C on consciousness when we mean it in our Unity speak. But when you're meaning it just aware, then you could use the lowercase c. But it was funny when I was working at Unity Village, some of the people would send down some things, and I'm trying to figure out what kind of format it was in. It wasn't the Daily Word. It was something else. It was either prayer slips going out or something. But some of them would send it down to my office, because I'd have to clear it and make it for them and all that stuff. And they'd have I, capital I, and then lowercase a-m, I am. Well, in Unity, when we say I am, we are very careful about that, because when we say I am, whatever comes after it is talking about our spiritual self. So we want to be positive in that, right? And so whenever they would send it down like that with a uppercase I and a lowercase a-m, I would always turn it back into I, capital A, capital M, because that's how we usually write it in Unity when we're talking about it. So it would be easier for the reader to know, what we're talking about. So when we learn these things and build upon them, it is easier for us to understand them, I think, when we have a base, when we're coming from a certain base. And when we're not, it's kind of like willy-nilly and not knowing what to believe and what not to believe. But we could learn a lot from crayons, and to have that base and to be able to expand it. Everything in life, believe it or not, everything in life has beauty in it, but we don't always see it. Everything in life has beauty in it, but we don't always see it. Now, we may have a disagreement on whether we think it's beautiful or not, but it has beauty in it for something. In fact, the boys and I were at the rodeo Friday night, and we saw this thing that we had never seen before. Believe it or not, I walked out. Okay, I sat down on the couch right before we were going, and I thought we were going to wait for a minute. So I plugged in my phone to get a little bit extra charge, and then what I did, I walked out without it. So anyway, we were at the rodeo without something to take a picture with, and so it's kind of hard to describe it. This thing looked like a moth, and it was, no kidding, that big. But it really wasn't. What reminds me of right now is it was like a stealth bomber moth. It had, the wings were folded like they were really going fast, but it was staying there. It was on the bleachers, and it stayed there the whole time, the whole couple hours, 3 hours. So it didn't move, but it was the weirdest thing I'd ever saw. And I wish I would have had a picture of it, because I'd like to look up and see what it was. But the boys pointed it out to me, and since I didn't know what it was, they were sitting on my left, and when they pointed it out, it was kind of right behind them. And so, since I didn't know what it was, I moved them over to the other side of me.
Yeah.
And so, just in case, but it's kind of an overabundance of caution. But so, even though that thing wasn't pretty to me, it was pretty to whatever else is in that species, right? I mean, it wasn't pretty to me, but so what? Everything doesn't have to be beautiful to you, but everything is beautiful, and we don't always see it. In fact, Jim and I were talking before service about, just briefly, about being how different people are raised differently. Not from a family hierarchy perspective, but as far as financial. Jim and I both have experienced, and a lot of us probably have, of it being very, I don't really like using the word poor, but I'm going to use it because that's what it is. Not any money, okay? But, we're also describing what you learn from that.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a lot of things that you can learn from that. I mean, is it the ideal situation? No. Is it a pretty situation? Not really. But you don't know the difference as a kid. You don't know the difference anyway, right? And so you do learn ways how to appreciate things. Jim brought this up, how you learn how to appreciate things that are simple to other people sometimes. I mean, a lot of kids, and I'm not saying it's wrong, because we do it to our kids right now. We try to give them a lot of things, especially that we didn't have. Of course, there's a lot of things now that weren't even available then. But, when there's a limit, I guess, or there's a balance, that should be left there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, anyway, it's a way to do things. But here from Philippians 1 through 9, it says, I pray that your love will overflow more and more, and that you will keep on growing in knowledge and understanding. And of course, this was Paul's writing. So, Paul was a very good writer. And, excuse me. So, when we're talking about, he was writing that your love will overflow more and more, and that you keep growing in your knowledge and understanding. Excuse me. So, he's touching a lot of bases there with just that one quote. The first part being your love, which is what we all have. And the reason I brought that in here was that love is different than evil. Love is a natural feeling, not only feeling, but a natural entity that will grow without you applying power to it, your power to it. Now, it may not grow as fast in you if you don't give it any of your power, but love is a power by itself. It is not Evil is not a power by itself. Am I getting that across fairly well? I hope so. Because love is in each one of us, whether we recognize it or not. Now think about your spouse when you found them, or your significant other when you found them, or whoever you love. I mean, it could be a pet, it could be a lot of things. How you fell in love with them. Now now we're talking about a physical love, but when you felt that physical love, as far as looks or whatever, then you felt something that you probably had not felt before. And you're probably thinking to yourself, this is kind of weird. I love my parents usually, most people do, or my caregivers, but it's different. This is a different type of love. And so that is an example, if you will, about love that we have that is powerful, that is different. It can grow on its own. It has nothing to do with you having to give power to it. Now, if you give power to it, of course, the more and the stronger it's going to grow. So, Francie and I still love each other.
What?
And she often reminds me how much she loves me. She tells me I'm number one by putting up her middle finger, and it's just a wonderful,
Nice.
a wonderful
Not
relationship.
true.
No, it is. It's just that we still love each other and we have a great time. So, love is something that can strengthen on its own, and we have to be aware of that.
You're in trouble.
I'm in trouble. All right, from Colossians 1:11, we also pray that you will be strengthened with all his glorious power, so you will have all the endurance and patience you need. And that's what we need a lot, is patience sometimes. Because sometimes we get into this,
Really?
Yeah. What we're worrying about is something different. What we're worrying about, and we think that, I got to take care of this, I got to do this, I got to do something to stop this, or to build this, whatever we're worrying about. When what we really need is patience and understanding, and knowing that it's all going to work out, however it's going to work out. And so, the thing with patience, how we grow more patience is not only in a spiritual sense, but in a day-to-day sense, is to take it to prayer. Take it to meditation. Release it. And that's part of our practice, is releasing things that do not serve us and are not good for us and are not truth for us. Not only in our own understanding of truth, but in truth as the I am. So, the two things, one thing that I want you to understand about this too is that as you pray, you're going to be strengthened, because you'll understand more and more that I can always go here. I'm never alone. I can always go to God, and I can experience that, what I'm looking for and what is the truth. But in order to do that, we have to go back to the first part of this lesson, is that we can't be saying that we're not perfect. We're not worthy of having this worry lifted from us. Because remember, when we say nobody's perfect, or we're not perfect, allows you to get in your mind the thought of having you less than what God created you as. And that's all worry is thinking that you are less than what God created you. Are there mistakes that we make in life? Yeah. There are mistakes that we make in life. Some things we'd like to have back, sure. But all we can do is continue to go forth. I've said this before, but the 12-step program when somebody has an addiction is a great program. But I've always said there's a 13th step that they don't add on, and I wish that they would have, is that you can be healed. You're not always going to be addicted to whatever. The idea, I understand the idea behind it, is saying that I'm an addict to whatever for the rest of your life, is the idea so you won't falter back. Yet, the idea, if you get past the point where I know that I'm a child of God, and I'm not going to do anything, whether it's the addiction or anything else, that is bad for me, then, and treating your body as a temple, then I know that I don't have to do it, and I am free from this addiction. So, you have to pray for yourself, and that's hard to do sometimes, isn't it? We have to pray for ourselves and understand that we deserve that prayer. So the two things I want you to remember today are pray for yourself. Can you do that?
Yes.
I hope so, because it's harder than you think sometimes, unless you practice it. And when you practice it, you get a lot better at it. And when you pray for yourself, you get to the point where you understand that I'm a child of God and I do deserve good in my life. The I am statements we say before at the first of church are so important because you do deserve good in your life. A lot of people think, the old adage what is it now? Forget it. You suffer and then you die. What is it? How does it go? I don't remember. But anyway, it's something like that. You suffer and then you die. That's not true.
Life's hard, then you die?
Life's hard, then you die. Could be.
Like that.
Something like that. You've heard it. It's different in different places, I'm sure. But you have to know that you're worthy of it. And that's what really most problems are in life, is we are, as an individual, don't feel worthy of good. Whatever the circumstance is, we don't feel worthy of the good. And that's not true. And the other thing is release all false thinking. So what's false thinking, and how do you release it? Well, false thinking is anything that's not true that God created you. If God created you, then you are good. Because God is a synonym with good. You're perfect. Yes, you're perfect. That's right. That's what I've been saying today. So if God created you, then you are perfect and good. And so you deserve good, and you deserve to be heard. So those are the two things I want you to do today. Can you do it?
Yes.
Good. And God bless you, and we're going to have a song.